Thank you. Fucking hell. Alright. Fucking hell. Okay, I hate you, OBS, when you update that. I don't know why it does that shit. So obnoxious. Every time OBS does an update, it defaults it gets rid of my mic. It's like, nah, we're not recognizing your mic. It's really obnoxious. Why does it do that? As I was saying, Cousin Jerry's stinky. Probably. Hi, Kaiser. How are you? But yeah, I wish I could figure out why. You are not stinky. I wish I could figure out why RBS does that every single fucking time. It's really obnoxious. It honestly pisses me off every single... That is not a limit. First of all. Gotta fix that too. There we go. I don't know why RBS picks to do that, where when you start up the stream, if you've updated, or even if you've just updated in general, RBS decides, you know what? No microphone for you. It's really... It's kind of shit, you know? I wish that RBS would not automatically reset the microphone when you update it if it's already set to something. Anyway. I hope everyone's having a good Friday. But would it really be a stream if there wasn't some level of scuff? Oh, no. Not you. Nope. 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 Yeah, you stay there. Uh-huh. Nope. Do me a favor and just die. No, no, get off of me! Thank you! Asshole. Oh, they're worse than Jerry. Just saying. Jerry at least leaves. Oh, maxed out on ethanol. Okay. Well, that kind of sucks because there's like 3 here. Shit. Do I not have any more batteries? Oh, great. No more batteries. Just what you wanted.
This is Turner. I found the last power coupling. Took me a while, but it's off now. Just this is the last security brace. Come find me when you've shut yours down, then we can get the hell out of here. Jesus, man, I'm hearing noises everywhere. Every creak and... Just hurry the fuck up, will you?
I wish I had batteries because these are all dark in here as shit. Ah! Are there any batteries anywhere? Oh well.
Ripley, it's Ricardo. You made it.
No thanks to Waits.
He's a ruthless son of a bitch, always has been. Stubborn too. If he'd ever listened to me, things would never have gone this far.
It's done now.
I'm sorry for fucking up with the lockdown earlier.
Forget it. You got me out in the end. I'll see you back at the Bureau.
Oh, Ricardo! Ricardo's a good guy, I hope. I really want to believe Ricardo's good. Well, rip. Thanks for all that, though, bud. Get that flamethrower with some stuff in it. Can I make anything? I could make a flashbang, but I don't really need to. Reload you. Full up on those. Update the map. Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Oh. Hi.
Aren't you listening? We'll shoot.
Okay.
Take them out. Come on, get them.
Get hard. Gosh. Nice shot, Harvey.
Take them out.
Where are you going? doing? It's off on a mission! Oh. Cool. Secret! Cool! Little guy was on a mission! Oh. Ah, scrap. Damn it! Not battery! Stitch need battery! Ah, well. I'm not allowed to have battery, apparently. Anyone got some double eyes? I think that's what this takes, is double eyes. Ooh, new blueprint! Oh, more flamethrower fuel. We like that.
Rip, I'm about to rain on the parade. Something's up with the androids.
Something's been up with the damn androids since I got here.
No, this is new. They've left their posts. I just saw some of them in a public area. That's not normal.
Ricardo is on our side.
Watch your back.
Has to be. I mean, why would he warn us about the androids if he wasn't on our side? Waits I knew wasn't gonna be on our side just because of the way he was acting. I'm glad at least we have Ricardo. Take that. Oh. Oh. Still can't really make anything. This is a save. Oh, hey! They've got ketchup! Oh, what I need ketchup. Give me the ketchup. What the fuck? Something just... That box just flew out of the ceiling! The hell? The hell kind of box are you? You can fly out of ceilings! Okay. We have boxes that can do magic tricks, apparently. Oh, got another recorded message.
I don't know when anyone will get this, but someone needs to keep a record, and I don't know. I came here a few months ago to write about the collapse of a dream, a future gone sour. For me, the people here were a little more than footnotes for my article. Something to tug at the heartstrings. And when the disappearances started, oh, I was thrilled. This was something big. But now people are afraid, and a communication fault means we're alone. I'm trapped here, just like everybody else. Another footnote. Another victim.
Sorry, lady. Don't go through there. That's too warm over there. Working Joes are not simply brilliant. They're assholes. We've established this. So... Ooh. Take all that. That means we have to go in the vent. Fair.
Wait, it's Ripley. What's going on with the androids?
I don't know.
What about the change in alert status?
Damn it, I don't know. I'm trying to contact Samuels. Maybe he knows what the hell Apollo is playing at.
You think you really think you're gonna help? Wait, you really think Waits is gonna help? He's not. Waits doesn't give a shit. I'm not turning that on. I'm gonna go hang out in here for a minute. We have ads in 7 minutes, so I'm gonna pause here. I'm going to run ads. That way they don't interrupt anything, and that way also too that those who come in are not hit with pre-rolls. And I will see everyone on the other side. welcome back from ads, Ohana. Let's get back into this. I need to get all the way to the Marshal Bureau. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Oh, shit! The working jars have gone off, have gone completely off. Ah, shit. No! Die! Oh! Flashlight batteries! Thank you! Oh! They killed everyone! Oh no! No! That was a person. Oops. Oopsie! I'm out of purple! I didn't mean it. I thought they were a droid coming right for me. See, this is why you can't approach people like that. You can't just high-speed run at somebody and think that you're gonna be okay. Let this be a lesson. Okay, back we go.
Wait, it's Ripley. What's going on with the androids?
I don't know.
What about the change in alert status?
Damn it, I don't know. I'm trying to contact Samuels. Maybe he knows what the hell Apollo is playing at.
I don't think he knows. Okay, got that. Button mashing time again. Yeah. God, this isn't slow-mo. No, it's not. I'm glad it stung. Okay, so... Now what? Let's see. Nothing here. Got another dead guy here. He's got nothing on him. Ah, fuck you! That guy, on the other hand, totally fine to kill. He had a gun. I wish I could pick his gun up, but I'm not allowed to do that! Dumb. Okay. Where to now? Okay. I don't know where to go now. Oh, okay, this way. You go in front of me, sure. Go ahead. I mean, he wants to go in front of me, that's fine, I don't care. That makes him happy? Sure. This just takes me back here. The fuck? To the spaceflight terminal. No, I need to get to the lower concourse, I think. Yeah, I've got to get to the lower concourse. Okay. I still don't understand why this is all, like, slow-mo now. Kind of weird. Okay, you're human. So are you. And I can't go that way because it's blocked off. So, do I go this way? Oh! Alright.
Wait, for God's sakes, Apollo's let the androids off the leash. They're attacking on sight.
I don't know what the hell this is. They're not just responding to trespass violations. It's like they're hunting.
For who?
For everyone and anyone.
What do you mean?
Stand by.
Wait, you are not helpful in the slightest. You know that? Can't make anything at the moment. Can't go through there. Oh! Yeah? I don't care. The less of you fucks in existence, the better. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm nuts for thinking the less of those guys in existence the better, but I don't feel like I am. Oh, why? Why must you be empty? Oh, okay. I see.
Anyone else? Hey, something's out there.
Haha. Hi.
The station separation sequence is now complete. Thank you for your patience.
And I can't go this way.
I've got some security shutters in my way. Can you open them? Weights.
You bastards, you murdering bastards. Leave them alone. Stand down. You bastards.
Well, Waits is dead.
Weights! Weights!
He's dead! Wonderful! Just what we needed!
This place falls apart more every day.
Oh, revolver ammo. Lovely. I have to restore power to these. Okay. Oh, well. Waits is gone. I'm gonna guess the rest of them are gone. Which sucks because Ricardo was actually on our side. Not too happy about losing Ricardo. I'm fine losing Waits, because Waits wanted us dead anyway.
You can trust our working Joes. Always there.
You had a gun!
Synthetics are made
It was self-defense!
functional simulations. No life quality. They just work for you, so you can get on with your life in perfect peace of mind. Working Joes. Brilliantly simple. And simply brilliant.
It was self-defense, I swear! He had a gun. Yeah, boy. Well, okay. I can't go that way? Oh, it's this way. Shh, beep, 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 shush. Beep, 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 shush. I don't want to die because you're beeping. Beep, beep, hush. Poll? Alright, which one of you did a poll? Wow! It's Jerry, of course. How dare, it's Jerry. I want to know which one of you did this! I had a feeling, maybe.
Come and join the Sixes family today. Sixes.
What? Is this Bully Stitch Day? Really?
Higgs, I'm leaving this for you when you wake up. I know that you're still all over the place after that thing came out of Foster, but you've got to stop fucking up like this. You got way too drunk and told those people sleeping in the mall way too much. I dragged you away when I saw the look in their eyes. We can't go back there again. No one can know we're connected to Marlow and with Isadora. I'll come back once you've dried out.
No, I don't think it was unwarranted. I don't think what I just did was unwarranted. These things want me dead. Wow! Right, that's it. See everybody next week! Bullies, the lot of you! It's fine. I'll get it, I'm not appreciated around here. It's fine. What's in here? Oh well, I don't think this guy's getting up anytime soon. Multiple doors to open, huh? Interesting. What are your plans? Security risk. This is a decommission audio.
Camped out in Xenomorph for maybe 24 hours. The people here, they're scared. But they still believe that martial ways will kill the creature.
I'm not. I'm innocent, Fluffy. I'm innocent, I swear.
People are turning on each other for food, for water. I cannot stay here.
Fluffy, I'm innocent, I swear. Also, hi, welcome in. Larry's. Was Larry's idea. Or that, Cousin Jerry. Yeah, you can also blame Cousin Jerry. Cousin Jerry is a bit of a nut. I mean, look, why would I say otherwise? I opened that door. It's this door down here. Let's make another one of these. I am not. How could he do this? How could he do this? I thought we had an understanding, him and I. Oh, hi, Shelby. How are you? I am dealing with a bit of a headache today, though. Okay, so this just leads back here. Right, got it. Aside from, you know, my chat bullying me. As per usual, them. I mean, I'm sorry. Bullshit! You never bully me. Where the fuck am I at? Okay.
Wait, it's Dr. Lingard. a patient with, well, I've never seen anything like it. Some kind of unknown parasite. I did a quick check on the name they gave me, and there's no one registered under it at Sevastopol. I think she came.
That doesn't even make sense!
Anything about this.
But then again, you are old.
Claire and his men were doing, but this should have been picked up during quarantine. Who knows what
So,
else they've let through.
it makes sense that you wouldn't know how to make things make sense.
Get down here now.
Honestly, I'm enjoying it. And every Friday, that's what I do, is I play a horror, I dedicate Fridays to horror games.
And I understand that you want to deal with it as quietly and quickly as possible.
That too.
But I wanted to make sure
I mean,
you didn't do anything rash.
There's a reason why I do what I do.
Specimen without killing it. If we play it smart, you can be set up for life. I have the connections. I can set it up. You're getting old, Wicks. You can't do this forever. And what are you going to do when Sevastopol closes? You have my number. Ransom out.
Zeno is cousin Jerry, by the way. Well, look, I know with the accent I'll say it funny. Okay? But yes, Fridays are my days for scary games. And I do actually quite enjoy them. Believe it or not. I thoroughly enjoy these kinds of games, weirdly enough. I'm honestly not really a fan of Dead by Daylight. I don't mind, like, watching it, like, watching people play it, but it's not one of those that appeals to me to play, because the community behind it is extremely toxic. See, that's also too, a lot of people, like, they like, certain games they like to watch someone play, but they don't necessarily want to play them themselves. Yeah, I know Kaiser used to play it too. Ricardo?
Rick, they're all dead.
The android slaughtered them.
Why? Why the fuck would...
I don't know, but I think Samuels does.
Samuels? Why?
Wait sent him to access Apollo. I need to find him. Have you seen Taylor and Marlowe?
No.
They're not here. I think they may have got clear. Ricardo, if I go after Samuels, can you run this place? I need eyes and ears.
I'm not fucking staying here.
Ricardo, I need you to do this. Can you man the station and keep me covered? Ricardo!
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Oh,
Sit tight.
Ricardo.
Lock the fucking doors and don't let anyone in. Look after me. I'll come back for you.
Yeah, see, that's how I would feel about it, honestly, Shelby. That's about the only way you'd see me play it, is if it was a full dedicated group of people playing together. Otherwise, no, I don't foresee myself touching it. I mean, I like some of, like, I do like that they've added a lot of, I do like that they've added a lot of characters that I like, but it's still not enough of a draw for me to make me want to touch it. It feels like a lot of those communities end up extremely toxic, and it's a shame. Because you could have such a great game, and then you've got the community that just outright ruins it. Don't tell me what to do! No! No! Big fat no! Exactly. That's the thing. Like, I feel, but it's not just that. It's not just the scary games, scary movies community that's like that though. I'm thankful so far. It seems like the Marvel Rivals community hasn't gotten that bad. But comic book nerds can be some of the meanest people on the planet. I say this as a comic book nerd. I love comic books, but again, like I said, I can definitely say like it is just so, I would say it's the same thing with, like, unfortunately, Heroes of the Storm. I played that a lot. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you how many hours I had in that game. I met some really good friends through that community, but the Heroes of the Storm community also are extremely toxic. MOBA communities in general can be extremely toxic. It seems a lot of, like, games similar to those, just, I don't know why it draws the fan base and the crowd that it does. I've never understood it. I wish it wasn't like that, you know? I wish that those communities weren't like that, but communities are what make those kinds of games, and if your community is toxic, well, you're gonna not attract a lot of people to play it. I've got to restore power to here. Oh, I'm sure it's that. I'm sure it's probably the same answer I'm thinking of. But we're having an open discussion, and it's a safe place to have the discussion, so feel free. Yeah, I mean, I get competition can turn people into raging lunatics sometimes. But I don't feel like it should. Yeah, that's true. That is true, they do. And the thing is, right, like, people, when these new kinds of games come out, they're so quick to say, let's not make it end up like XYZ game. And what happens after a while is it ends up like XYZ game. If you really don't want it to be like XYZ game, then people need to not allow it to get that way and not feed into it. Because that's also another issue, is people are so quick to just feed into it rather than block and move on. The block button, the report button, they're there for a reason. They're not just there to look pretty. I'm going around in a big old LARP. I feel like it's Groundhog's Day. I know I was here before. Don't know what I'm doing anymore. That guy is dead on the floor. See, and that's a good thing. More of that needs to be commonplace as well. Where if you have a report function for your game, it needs to actively work. That's another thing, like, that I feel games should have as well. See, and that, you know, that's another thing too. Take the transit to the side. I know. You would think people wouldn't be. Yeah, and that, you want that with communities as well. You want the report system to actually actively do shit. My brain is trying to figure out where I need to go. It don't know shit right now. My brain is doing a dumb. I need to restore power to these. Oh, yeah. It is, because I've got a headache. So that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is I've got a headache, so brain's like, eh. We're just gonna run around and you figure it out. Eventually. So this is gonna take me probably back to Ricardo. Yeah, I can't go there anymore because that's Ricardo. So I have to... have to go up here. These doors don't open. This one doesn't open. And then these two are connected, I think. I don't know. I can't take the charge pack. This leads me here. Right. Does this open? It does. Okay. This opens. This does not. This leads me back here to the bureau. Is this open? Right. Okay. But that's not! Yeah, this is locked. And so is this. If I go back out here. These are the ones I was already in. Okay. Does this open? Okay. Now, go this way. Thank you for the flashlight batteries! Been needing those! Oh. Very kind of you. Check over here. Oh, thank you for the poster chicken drink. Ugh. Today's drink of choice is a root beer Olipop. Not sponsored. But they're fucking good. Speaking of drinks, for those of you who were not here yesterday, I think it was, I am now partnered with Advanced GG. They are a healthier option for, energy drink for focus and also hydration. They also have stuff to help with sleep as well. If you do !advanced GG or AGG, you can get the link that will give you 10% off your order. Or you can use code Stitchings10 at checkout. And they just released their brand new flavor, which is white gummy bear. And they have a flavor on sale. What are you doing here? For Easter? Yeah, well, you know what? I don't care. Get off of me! You absolute fuck! Where did you come from? Doesn't matter, you're dead. I don't know where he came from, but he's dead now. That wasn't fun. You guys are assholes. Device invalid. Yeah. There's plans in here. I want them. The Cymed transit. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine it could. I'm sure they put a lot of work into the AI for it, honestly. Also, a little side note, if I get enough sales with Advanced GG, I can get my own flavor and possibly my own shaker cup. Just a little note for everyone. I mean, I don't see why you guys wouldn't want Stitch Waifu Cup. Just think about it. Waifu Stitch Cup.
Station serving the San Cristobal Medical Facility and Seeks and
I can
Synthetics.
see activity on terminals on the top levels of Seeds and Synthetics. Rip, I'm not sure I can do this.
Ricardo, I need you to focus. You're in charge now.
In charge of what? A room full of dead people? This is fucked up!
Focus, Ricardo. If Samuels can talk to Apollo, he can get the androids to stand down. Then this will all be over.
Oh, Ricardo! I love Ricardo. Ricardo's becoming like a character I don't want to see disappear. But, you know, don't get attached to characters in video games, that's all I'm gonna say. I unfortunately learned that the hard way. Getting attached to video game characters is not a smart thing. Anything back here for me to pick up? No. Oh, there's stuff back there, though. Look, I found a mini fan. This is my mini fan. They're a fan of me, but they're mini. Alright, I know the jokes are bad, okay? Can I go in here? Device invalid! Ah! You're invalid! Hey, boy!
Ripley, there's a security alert firing off in the labs nearby. Elevators are out. Looks like the seats and synthetics aren't taking kindly to a Weyland-Yutani model snooping around.
So how do I get up?
You have to climb. There's a service vent through to the elevator shaft around there somewhere.
I mean, I can think of a couple of ways you can get up, but Ripley, you don't have that part. So, unless you do and we don't know it, you're not gonna get up. Just so you know. Oh man, he is not having a good day. He's really not having a good day. Whatever, he must have said some really awful things. Or someone read something really terrible and they took it out on him. I'm very sorry either way. Pound code is 838-TOR. $838. Commit that to memory. Woo! I can actually cut this one. Eight, 3, 8, 2. And we're in. Like I said, I didn't think she had that part, but you know, I'm not gonna stop her if she did. Jeez. There was certainly a fight here. And no one won. Yeah? No one won that fight. Man, this is really different when you don't have Jerry chasing you all over the place. We do have ads starting in 7 minutes, so I'm gonna pause here, run ads. That way they don't interrupt anything, and I'll see everyone on the other side. Welcome back from ads, Ohana. Let's get back into this. No. I mean, it is honestly a little spookier not having Jerry chase us around like crazy. But I do miss him. Somewhat. Not fully. Okay, so let's just let back here. Right. Oh. We're Sparky McSparkerson right now. Oh, oh. Don't look down, don't look down, don't look down, don't look down. Whew. Huh? 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 I'm confused. Oh. You know, it would help if I looked. Oh, I don't like the shaky! I'm knocking down, Oh my god, oh my god! Oh my god! Oh no, why did that make her look down? Why? Oh, no, just get in the damn elevator, please! Please just get in the, Oi. Oh yeah. I'm okay. Welcome to my very weird phobia. I have a very bad phobia of lifts, aka elevators. I don't know why, but I do. That was the scariest part of the game right there for me. Oh. See, this is fine.
Ricardo, I'm here. Looks like the place synthetics go to die.
Kinda does look like the place synthetics go to die, doesn't it? Do any of you have loot? I don't like that it said hostiles nearby. That worries me. A lot. Am I gonna get a new fear unlocked with this? Is it gonna be like mannequins? New fear unlocked? Cause I'm starting to feel that way. long as none of these fucks get up, we're good. Reformat chamber audio.
Executive Ransom speaking. I just woke up to find a working Joe in my suite, and when I asked what the hell it was doing, it lunged for me. I had to leave my own fucking apartment. Send your best technicians to Apollo Core and find out what the hell is
Power
going on.
level too high.
Get those things under control. I want a full report ASAP.
Right. Thank you. I hope we don't lose Ricardo.
Hazard level, Omega, Apollo.
Oh no!
What are we?
Fuck, I grabbed the wrong thing! Can you? Okay, you know what? He's dead. Asswipe, I don't know where you came from, but you're dead now. That's all I care about. Make sure to reload everything. There it is. You. This one. This weird looking dude. And there we go. Oh, flashlight batteries. Very nice. You just stay on the fucking table. Okay? Good. Good. And turn this off. Through the door. Why? Why?
I must have access to Apollo. Open the tower transit immediately.
Apollo transit reserved for Sikhs and executives and synthetics only.
Right. Then I'll have to find a way to talk to Apollo directly.
Biocontainment hazard level Omega. All permissions rescinded.
I don't have time for this.
Oh! Oh, shit! He just said a big old fuck you! Shit. Is that synthetic on synthetic violence? Is that okay? Should we have watched that? I'm not sure we should have watched that. Fucking! Oh, that's terrifying. Plans. Last chance. Showroom appointments. Right. You know, I'm just gonna hold on to these. My safety EMP mines, because I don't trust it right now. I really don't trust this. Find a way out. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. You got any ideas of how to get out of here? Not much of a talker, huh? Okay. Well, I didn't think so. And these guys are just terrifying. Don't see a vent anywhere to get out. Anything in here? This is just about a lockdown button on the desk. Lockdown button near the desk. If I were a lockdown button. Ha! Don't trust it! Which one said that? I knew better than to trust it! trust it! Oh! My God! Stay the fuck in there! Ooh, Molotov version 2! Thank you. Oh, EMP mine. Very nice. Oh. Molotovs. Yes. Oh. The fact that this room has all this stuff in it makes me uneasy. I'm safe. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's just about Smythe. Nothing there, really. And this is just about the synthetic showroom. Okay. They broke out! The fuckers broke out! This is not good. This is not good.
Maybe one of these things had a key card.
Thank fuck for all those Molotovs! I'm gonna have nightmares about them. I swear. Worse than Jerry. Samuels!
Utani synthetic registered. Attempted unauthorized access.
Samuel's body! Where are you, Samuels?
System misuse and passenger inebriation will be reported to the Colonial Marshals.
Okay, so there's nothing here. Oh.
Elevator going down to Android orientation.
Samuels! Come back! Please! Power failure!
Functioning. Great.
What was that, Ripley?
Nothing. Just more shit on the station fucking up. The usual.
What does that mean? And I can't interact with any of these? Oh, okay. Oh, I don't like this. I have a fear of heights, so I really don't like this. Oh God! Oh no 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 no! Samuels, why? Why are you making me do all of this? I thought we were friends, Samuels.
Spedding in android processing. We've got a situation. There's white on red casualties on station. I've just had an android report to the APTC with head trauma. But he's covered in blood. Human blood. I've alerted the marshals, put my secretary someplace safe, and I'm headed for the transit. I'm gonna get a working Joe to consult Apollo. Maybe it knows who the hell is to blame for this.
Alright, which one of you wants to just get shot? You were moving, so you gave it away. He was twitching on the table, so he gave it away. No, I don't want to talk about safety! Not with you! Safety, these nuts! Oh no, that doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. I don't care. Camera's off now. Did I wake the other ones that were in here? I guess so. Alright, camera. Please move. Don't need flares. I'm full up on flares. Wakey, wakey!
Seems strange. A firearm.
I gotta wait till the fire on you goes out. Since you wanted to just piss me off. Let's make another med kit. You know what? I've got enough to make another one. I think having 3 is a good idea. There's nothing in here. Except some scrap. Turn this camera off. This guy, the weird little dude, you. Samuels?
Ripley, good to see you alive. Apollo's security perimeter has been built so that only Seeks and synthetics can interact with it. Listen to me. I'm going to have to do something rather drastic if I hope to connect with Apollo.
What? What are you gonna do? I don't like that he said he's gotta do something drastic.
I'm going to use the reformat chamber. It's the only option. I've had to divert power from the area to allow me to try.
Samuels, no! No, Samuels! another way! There's gotta be another way.
Samuels, that's too dangerous.
Yes, far too dangerous. Wish me luck.
Samuels, no! Come on, Samuels, this is the Ripley, don't do it!
Warning. Apollo connection initiating. Apollo, infection has been purged. The creature is no longer on board. The station is safe. Request that all hazard containment operations are suspended. Alert. Unauthorized connection. Ripley, Apollo's rejecting me. We might be in trouble.
Samuels?
Samuels!
Apollo is trying to stop me from interfacing. Oh no! Amanda! You need to manually disconnect the systems. Please!
Jesus, Samuels, I'll try!
Wait! You need to do it in the correct order, or the cascade will be fatal for me. I'm accessing Seegson schematics. Remove the red cable first.
Okay, red first!
Samuels!
Found it!
Terminal Ripley. Look for an open floor panel. There should be a deactivated android next to it.
Was that supposed to happen? I don't think that was supposed to happen! I don't think I was supposed to get exploded upon by fire!
Samuels, that's too dangerous.
Yes, far too dangerous. Wish me luck.
Samuels, don't!
Warning. Apollo connection initiating. Apollo, infection has been purged. The creature is no longer on board. The station is safe. Request that all hazard containment operations are suspended. Alert. Unauthorized connection. Ripley, Apollo's rejecting me. We might be in trouble.
Samuels?
Apollo is trying to stop me from interfacing. Oh no! Amanda! You need to manually disconnect the systems. Please!
Jesus, Samuels, I'll try!
Wait! You need to do it in the correct order, or the cascade will be fatal for me. I'm accessing Seegson schematics. Remove the red cable first.
Okay, this is the red one, I guess.
Okay, red first! Red done!
Next, look for a blue cable. Can you see it?
This is the blue.
Got it! Blue disconnected. What next?
I'm having trouble accessing the schematics. Apollo is making things difficult.
I need the next one, Samuels! What?
What's happening out there, Ripley?
The emergency lights have come on! I can't make out the colors of the cables. You're gonna have to guide me to them. Found it.
The next one is plugged into a wall socket. There was an upturned gurney nearby.
Upturned gurney? Oh, this one? I don't know. I'm guessing it's this this one?
Got him, Samuels!
Just the last one now, Ripley.
Samuels. You're dying.
You talk like I've had an actual life. I thank you for that.
Samuels.
The Apollo transit is open. Once you get into the core, it will talk to you.
You did that for me.
I wanted Amanda Ripley to have closure.
Samuels. Oh. No. It was a good set.
Ricardo, if you're there, pick up.
I'm here, sorry.
Samuels is gone.
Shit.
He opened Apollo Transit for me. I'm gonna go straight there. I'll get Apollo to lift the lockdown.
Makes me sad. This makes me sad. Now we've lost Samuels. Well, time to head back, I guess.
Hello. Where's that? Follow me, please.
Go away! Let's heal up again. Samuels is dead, and it's all because of you fucks! And I'm not happy about it. Okay, so that was all that was in here, was just This is not where I need to be. Alright. To go back this way.
Rip, I just found something here. An interview tape. You need to hear it.
Play it, Ricardo.
You're Marlowe, right?
Yeah.
I'm Taylor. Sector Exec Wayland Yutani.
Oh, the big guns now, huh? Not some girl with abandonment issues?
Leave Ripley out of this. She's just looking for closure. I'm looking after Wayland Yutani.
Hi, Dragon.
And I'm looking to get out of this fucking setup.
How are you?
Do with you.
Maybe. This is being recorded. You understand?
I saw. Red lights on.
I want data. The location of the planetoid where you found the derelict. All data you have on the origin of that organism.
I can give you that. And a way off this station. You just have to let me out.
I can probably agree to those terms. What the fuck?
Taylor! Taylor, get me out of this cell right now! Get me out!
Taylor fucking
I heard it.
are that bitch! Taylor fucking oh. Please let me kill her! Oh! Fluffy aimed with a raid? Welcome in, raiders. My name is Stitch. I am your friendly non-binary alien demon here on Twitch. I'm also best friends with the Mothman. What were you up to, Fluffy? Up to some Wildgate, huh?
Apollo private transit available. Board for Apollo.
I hate the call button. That's our. See, I know I got invited to the playtest, but it errors for me, so I don't think I can do it. I get an error message when I try. So what's it like? If you don't mind me asking.
Car for the Central Apollo mainframe. Sebastopol Science and Medical Tower.
Yeah, I got an error message when I was trying to click the link to sign up.
Supportive systems with the AI core itself at the center. Apollo prevented Samuels from lifting the lockdown remotely. But once you're inside, he made sure he'll at least talk to you.
Fun, frantic, and a bit mad. Alright.
Find our transit service division. Please fill out one of the forms provided.
Huh. So like a looter shooter kind of thing?
I've come over to Apollo to find out what sent the synthetics crazy. This place has gone to hell. Apollo's redirected core android duties, and they've just walked away from the maintenance we requested after we got the news.
So a looter extraction shooter?
Gas has escaped, and the primary access lift has shut itself down. I flagged the help request, but apparently I'm 45th in line. Systems are suddenly obsessed with hazard containment. I'm gonna find a way down. Spitting out.
Oh, wow. Huh. That sounds really interesting, though. And you know what, Dragon? Fair enough. I'm surprised my brain is working right now. I have a headache.
Firearms detected.
You've got to be shitting me.
Place firearms on security conveyor.
It's gonna throw a hissy fit if I go back through there again. Find a way to the lower floor. Is there... There's no vents around.
Humans and synthetics, thank you for your continued use of the Sevastopol Transit.
Oh, that sucks. You don't get any help? That kinda sucks. I'd imagine, like you said, it will be better with Crew 4 then, yeah. Okay. Elliot, I'm loving this. It is very jump scary. I'm a big fan of the franchise anyway, and I've been having a really good time with this game. It's a little confused. Some of the stuff's a little confusing, like right now, trying to figure out where it wants me to go. I think I might be close to the end of the game. I'm not entirely sure. What do you want me to do? You won't let me through!
Think of your fellow passengers. Take your trash with you. We are
Find a way to the lower floor.
extremely sorry for the current disruption in services.
There's got to be something in here to let me get in there. I don't... There's nothing. There's nothing! This is frustrating. Cause this is just the history. This is the audio. I'm sorry to hear that, Dragon. But hopefully things will be done soon enough and you won't have to worry about it.
Please fill out one of the forms provided.
This is completely shut down. I can't go back that way. Am I just missing something? Because I can't get in there. There's no way to get in here. No way to get there. Alright, and Fluffy, if you have to do anything self-care wise for yourself after stream, please feel free to do so. I do appreciate you raiding me. I'm sorry, I'm just like all over the place right now. Door locked. I know. Fuck you. Yeah. We have ads in 9 minutes, so I'm going to pause here. I'm going to run ads. That way those who come in aren't hit with pre-rolls. And also, too, that way they don't interrupt anything when I'm playing the game. But I'll see everyone on the other side. Welcome back from ads, Ohana. Let's get back into this with me being very stupid. There.
I'll bet.
You just want to take all my weapons from me!
Apollo core access elevator offline. Primary Apollo systems inaccessible.
Ricardo, the way in's blocked off.
The schematics they use for the Sevastopol sales tour should be nearby. See if there's a back door.
They took all of my weapons! Four, 9, 3, 0.
Let's see. There's a power conduit that links to the Apollo core. I can use that.
You think you'll fit?
Turn off the electrics, take some deep breaths, squeeze. Easy.
I'm not coming up there to pull you out if you get stuck.
4930.
Huddling up to a live conduit is gonna hurt though, right?
I'll have to power it down first.
I love going into stuff like this with no weapons. This is fun. This is just great. And I'm having a great time right now knowing that I have nothing to protect myself! But Stitch, you have bombs. You have things you can throw. Yeah, but I don't have anything that goes shooty shooty bang bang! This one, you and you. That was loud. Apollo information sheet. Audio error. Okay, nothing. Blasting cap. Cool. Drop another quick save. Since I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Injector. Nothing there. The crescendoing music scares me too. Just saying. Oh, another log.
Great. It's Chief. There's something wrong with your synthetics.
Oh, synthetics! Great!
The acid strip lower habitation just stopped in their tracks. They brought something about a hazard containment order, tried to get into my control booth, and then just marched off. I know I always complain about those spooky bald bastards, but now I've got proof their wiring's faulty. I've got a meeting with your boss Spedding tomorrow, and I'm gonna kick some ass. So when he starts kicking your ass, well, it's coming from me.
Ricardo, conduit's offline for now.
I've pulled up the Apollo schematics here. It looks like you can get to the access through the turbine shaft.
The turbine's running hot, Ricardo. Full speed.
Yeah!
There'll be an emergency shut-off nearby, but it won't stay off forever. You have to get inside quickly.
Thank you for the gnomes and the face squish. I do feel like this is almost endgame. At least I want to feel like it's endgame. Emergency shut off. Where are you? I don't... God damn it!
Turbine's off. Way should be clear.
Better run. If Apollo systems overheat, they'll reboot.
Here we go!
This is gonna be tight.
Good luck.
That's what she said!
You're getting deeper into Apollo and your radio signal's getting faint. I'm gonna lose you soon.
Great. Just keep them crossed for me, huh?
There's gonna be lots of Joes down there. It could be dangerous.
Samuel sacrificed himself so I could get here. I've gotta try.
I thought he was a pretty nice guy for a synthetic.
Me too.
Okay. This has to be endgame. I don't imagine there's much more.
Ricardo, the main entrance is locked. Any idea what to do next?
I can't hardly hear you, Rick. Your signal's just faint.
Oh!
Ricardo? For God's sake. If you can hear me, find another way to make contact. Something's up with my earpiece.
Hazard containment Omega.
Spedding, something crazy just happened. Sebastopol is off the market. We gotta buy it. Weeks before they start taking the place apart and they U-turn. After all those endless presentations and tours, I guess the talks weren't stalled at all. Someone at company headquarters just had to click his fingers. A message of confirmation just came in. Apollo's currently receiving a packet of new operation rule sets. So, I guess the deal's sealed. Board level need to know stuff until it's announced to shareholders. Like the promotion, huh?
I'm gonna save again. I'm very terrified.
I must lead him to the core. Can't do anything without power.
Control room.
Strange.
Ah! No one here. Inadvisable these! No, you're not! Fine! You know what? Fuck it, we fight!
Don't run. Stings.
Why? You suck! You guys suck! Oh, this sucks. Okay. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! The mines didn't do anything? Yeah, really! Why can't I hit you? Why can't I hit you? What the fuck? And there's two of you against one? Why? Oh, this is bullshit! You guys are bullshit!
wasting valuable company time.
They're bullshit.
This area is restricted, and I know you're here.
And? You're bullshit!
Are you playing a game with me?
No.
I will find you. I'm sure this is a misunderstanding.
Yeah. Oh, fuck off!
Calm down. This is futile. Your brain is sterile. I am quite finished. Core duties have been neglected for no gain.
How?
Running causes accidents.
Okay. Back to sneaky, apparently. Sure. No! No! This is ridiculous. I can't even hit him and I get stuck on shit.
Don't run. There's no need for this.
This is bullshit!
Why not ask me about Sevastopol's safety protocols?
Why not? Just let me do this and leave me alone.
Running causes accidents.
Now active. Hemisphere server bank.
No, you're not!
Okay. If I power these up one
Ah!
access to a proper security.
Great! Slayer, thank you for the ride. Welcome in. What did you get up to today? Okay. Hello there. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow, Doomslayer. You're now one of the Ohana. Helldivers, huh? I have a lot of friends who like Helldivers. I don't want to butcher your name, but is it Michael or Michael? Apologies if I butcher your name. Chef's choice, okay.
You shouldn't be here.
Where did you come from? Ah! Where did you come from? Michael, alright, then I will go with Michael. Yeah, I think Michael's gonna make my life easier too. I'm gonna fight you. I wanna know where this fucking guy came from. Uh-huh. Where did you come from? I wanna know where the fuck these two came from! Yeah, well, you know what else causes accidents? You being a dumbass! Oh. Follow you? How about no? Oh my god, there's 3 of them now! What for? What? Where did they all come from? Where did they all come from? I don't want a damn well place! If I want to run, I'm running! Ah. Nothing! Nothing you can figure out.
I must leave him with the core. Can't do anything without power.
Stay over there! Okay? No, you don't. Ah! Who do you think you are? Okay, so I think I still have this as a thing, but let me check. I do not. Okay. So I am actually American. But you'll see one of my mods popping in here from time to time. Sarcastic Kaiser. He happens to be my other half. And I was over in the UK with him for 6 months, and yeah, the accent kind of decided to stick around, and I've been back in the States now, God, I don't know, a few years at this point?
Left hemisphere server banks. Now active. Right hemisphere server banks.
Well, yeah, technically I'm an American alien. Technically. I'll have to fix that and get that working again. It used to be a command I had ages ago to let people know about the accent. Are you shitting me? How about no?
This is futile.
Yeah, really. A lot of people do. I'll get Australian, I'll get British, I'll get gotten Wales, gotten Welsh.
Security banks.
I've got an Irish as well. That's another one I've gotten. Oh no! Nobody here! Go play with the fire! No! Well, that's awesome! Can they go away, please? You know what I wish I could do? I wish I could jump these guys. Like, jump out and just smack them. Like, yeah! Smack them. Get them going. That's what I wish I could do. Oh boy, alrighty then. Haven't heard that sound in a bit. Thank you for the bits though. Oh, I've got a lot. I've got a lot of like fun sounds and things you can redeem. I'm waiting. Have they left? Uh-huh. Well, we've been patient so far. Oh, look at that. I'm sure. Boss makes $1, well I make a dime. Thanks for the bits. Let me allow that. I don't know why. Thank you again for the bits. No, this is shit. I've got. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. This is shit. You are shit. You're making my life difficult. Can you just fuck off, please?
I'm sure this is a misunderstanding.
No!
Where are you going?
Go to hell!
Calm down.
I can't even hit these fucks. This is annoying. You're supposed to be allowed to hit them. Fuck, let's go! Fuck it! We made it in! Let's get... Enjoy your sleep. Thank you again for the ride and the photo and the bits. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay. Shit! I can't get it to stay still. Oh, God. I need it to just be somewhere I can hold it. I think I'm gonna try maybe to get to the right hemisphere first. Maybe if I got the right hemisphere down first. That no. Oh shit! Let's try this again. This needs to be 67. Yes, I am. I am an VoD ambassador. However, right now, unfortunately, my card only works US side. I did email them, and I did ask them in an email if I can get the code to be global because of being on Twitch. And I told them that that's where a majority of stuff's going to come from, and the people on my Twitch are from all over the globe. So I am an OT ambassador. I'm also an ambassador for Advanced GG, and I'm also an ambassador for Space Panda Delta, which are gummies that are THC gummies. No! Thank you. I've put in a lot of work. ASAP John Legend Official. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. I'm one of the Ohana. I've done a lot of work. I'm trying to... It's been a lot of talking with different companies. To try and get the affiliations with them. However, it was pretty cool that Advanced GG actually reached out to me because they wanted to sponsor me. See if I get more time now. Oh god, thank you! There we go! We got it! We're consulting with Apollo! Okay. I just gotta go find my way inside, I guess. How do I go into the Apollo core? Do I just press the thingy again? Oh! Let's go! Cutscene! Oh. You have a good night, and thank you again.
What the hell? Two days after we left. You're kidding me.
What?
Bitches. It isn't on the damn station. What? Fuck.
What? Huh?
Wayland Yutani, building better worlds.
God damn it, Wayland Yutani! something with you fucks! Okay. Human interaction, Apollo primary interaction log. It's ransom with Weyland-Yutani. Keep everything quiet. It is always something with fucking Weyland-Yutani.
You on comms here, Ricardo?
I'm hearing. What's the news?
Apollo's running Weyland-Yutani protocols.
It's what?
Something's sold out. Weyland-Yutani are in control of Apollo now. It's refusing to lift the lockdown. It says there's something up with the reactor.
You're from the company. Tell it you don't give a shit and to do what you say.
Sorry, Ricardo, but I'm small fry. Me, Samuels, Taylor, we all are. Guess if we amounted to anything, Apollo wouldn't be so ready to see us killed.
They see some bullshit!
Multiple intruders detected. Lower levels of reactor core. Please attend.
Oh. Restore power. Be some bullshit. Power up the tram systems. Got it. I really don't like this. Okay. Choo-choo, I guess. Oh boy, another safe spot. Okay. I don't like this at all.
Engineering access restricted.
Please vacate area. Why? No! Not more of them! That's a shoot.
Why not ask me about Sevastopol's safety?
Why are you here?
What are we doing here?
I can ask you the same thing!
This isn't the answer. My turn now.
No? My turn, bitch. not using that. Oh. Bolt gun ammo? Oh boy. Ooh, upgrade. We like the upgrades. Let's make this and heal. We like the upgrades. Charge pack, ethanol, and I'm full on that. This is like playing red light, green light. Oh, I love having upgrades. Makes the game so much more fun. Oh, thank you for burger time. Oh, make me really hungry, you know. As if I'm not hungry already. Nothing that way, so we go this way. Save point. And I'm gonna actually end it here because my head is getting worse with this headache. But thank you everyone for today. Today has been pretty crazy actually. Really appreciate the raids. I appreciate the followers. We are now 1 away from my follower goal for again. Which is insane. Absolutely insane. We're gonna go raid a friend. We're gonna go ahead and raid a friend of mine. Paladin Mags. Mags is currently playing Scarlet and Violet, but we'll be switching to Marvel Rivals at some point. But do remember you are loved, you are valid, and you matter. And do something to make someone smile today, because tomorrow is not promised. Tell someone you love them. I love you, my Ohana. You have a great night. I will be live tomorrow, probably around 6 p.m.-ish Eastern, with Schedule 1 with Larry IRL. But have a great night, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow. If you are not subbed, this is your raid message. If you are subbed, this is your raid message. Copy those down.